It's so difficult for DPW to quantify, as every snow cycle is so different, right? And every snow is so different. So I think what you may want to, maybe put together, a list of 1, 2, or 3 areas that, like this location would be the first place that we would want to put the public snow. And if that exceeded the limit, maybe this is the next place you would want to locate.
But I think you did ask that question last time, which was if we just did the public lots, how much capacity do we need? And so, do we have to ask that again? And then maybe you're not like, you must quantify it for the budget purposes currently, somehow it's budgets and predictions.
Well, I mean, we know it's definitely significantly, or it's less than 3,600 cubic feet, right? We provide all the different cubic yards of all the spaces that it could potentially go that was discussed at your cow event. So I think what I'm proposing, that gives you at least a little bit of an estimate of some options that you could put the snow.
So if you just chose just to do the public lots, would you come back to us and tell us how much space we need in our parking lots? So we can pick. Just in case. I think so.
Well, for the purposes of discussion, it seems like if we did say we would direct staff to remove the snow and store it in Lot C at River Park, that would get us very close to what we had available on Wilson Drive, and we would still be able to accommodate the needs of the business district, which is also the community. And that would be a place to move to. I'd be comfortable looking at that.
I think from the discussion, the cow discussion we had, we didn't vote or anything, but it seemed like the board was leaning towards utilizing one of our lots.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And
as you can see, we have all the public lot cubic yardage too.
Okay, yes, but I reviewed our engineer's report and the report from the Conservation Committee, both of which said River Park would be not a good place to store snow. Both of them said that. So that leaves Zion lot and Menlo lot. Zion is in a combined. Menlo could be or couldn't be depending where we put the snow. But I guess, if we were to do that, how would we just have to figure out how to accommodate people who have purchased parking permits for those lots, and do we know how many permits are sold for each of those lots, and what we can do for that?
And building on that, Mark writes in here that we'd have to reimburse the parking utility, which I don't know that's right, because if they park on the street as a hardship, it's the same price. So they're still buying a permit. So say, we just don't give them the permit for the street right now on Oakland because we have a lot. But if we needed our lot, which we own for snow storage or, pervious pavers in the future for a real long-term solution, they're still going to be paying that. We're not giving free parking. We're just moving them.
Right.
So
they would probably qualify for a hardship. Most
so it's
likely.
saying that it's 15,000 fiscal impact, which I don't agree with. Is Mark here?
Well, that was for River, right? The River Park parking lot. Yeah, $15,000 number.
Right.
And that came from Diane, I believe, when what she did was she just computed the amount of cars that were parking in the parking lot, multiplied that by the 6 months that we would not. So I think what we're saying though is not, we don't know if all those people would necessarily park on the street or not.
Well, they have to park somewhere.
Right.
And usually people prefer, our residents don't necessarily prefer the businesses having them on the street, but in general, we tell them they have to park in the lot, even if it's further away. So we could just say, if you want parking, and I just don't know where the car.
No, I understand your thought process.
So I wanted to make sure that 15,000 was discussed.
I understand your thought process on that.
Just trying to think about kind of whittling this down a little bit. It sounds like based on the direction of staff that Wilson Drive is not an option at this point, given the landscaping that's going on there. Menlo lot I view is very, very much the same as Wilson. It just creates the same problem, so I would X that one off the list too. So it looks like, to me, that we're down to the River Park parking lots and the Zion lot in terms of what we're considering here. I don't know if that's kind of the feel of the board at this point, but that's sort of what I'm seeing at this point in the conversation.
And the Zion lot that's the most, we're tightest parking we have. It's really, I mean, that serves those taller apartment buildings. That's where we got parking on the street there and the lots. But River Park, I mean, the outer park where we have the Christmas tree lot, the lot C.
That's lot B.
Lot B, yeah.
And that's filled by the Christmas tree lot. I mean, I would think we could use that for storage and do steps to contain the runoff and work on a long-term solution. And also look like in the village hall, you know, maybe take 2 or 3 spots and store some snow in spots, come up with a plan to get us by for a year or 2 until we can get the.
Well, I mean, from a space perspective, we have multiple options that could accommodate all the snow that we've estimated that we move on in an annual year. You know, if the village board designates a spot in a different public lot, you know, then we can very easily move the snow out of the village hall lot in its entirety the same way we do now. You know, I think it's just a matter of the board deciding if one of those public lots, you know, listed here is a palatable option or alternative to Wilson Drive. We can make any of them work. To be honest, just from an access, you know, an operational for efficiency and safety, Lot C is probably the best one of those lots. I quite honestly, I would have some concerns about the Zion lot just from a traffic and more of a safety or liability standpoint because it's so tight there. And we're working right in the middle of Oakland Avenue, trucking, and you know, that's just, I'm not saying we could not do it, we could do it. It just isn't ideal. But Lot C is a very good alternative from the perspective of attempting to keep it out of the public eye a little bit because, you know, we've been talking about the fact that it's not attractive to look at. I think we all agree on that. It's pretty easy for us to access. It's out of the way. You know, Lot B would be right on Oakland Avenue. If we don't want to look at it on Wilson Drive, I don't know that we want to look at it anymore on Oakland Avenue, especially right there, the entrance to the village. But you know, Lot C is pretty big, and based on the cubic yards that we've calculated, we wouldn't use the entire lot to store that snow.
I just want to mention too another point that Trustee Menton mentioned that I thought was good during the cow, that there's a short-term and a long-term decision here. Right now we're looking for a short-term approach, but no matter if you pick one of the parking lots, that doesn't mean that long-term we can't find environmentally a good long-term solution for that. So I just want to reiterate that point too.
Trustee Amenta and then Warren.
I just wanted to clarify, where it says Menlo lot, that's the lot like right north of the, right near where Hubbard is, right? That little parking lot on Oakland and Menlo.
Oakland and Menlo, yeah.
Right, so it's where the yoga, where the yoga, and here's, it's that lot, yeah. It's not Menlo Boulevard. I guess if I had to choose between River Park, given that our conservation committee has recommended against that, and it would be draining directly into the river. And I mean, this is not going to make me popular with people on Menlo, but if I had to choose between being on Menlo Boulevard and being on River Park, I would choose Menlo Boulevard. Or Triangle Park. Well, Triangle Park isn't separated sewer.
Trustee Warren and then Trustee Nicky.
I was just, I think you mentioned short-term and long-term environmental impacts. I was wondering if we were to choose River Park, given some of the things that we've seen environmentally, what kind of short-term mitigation pieces could we put into place in order to control the runoff there?
Good question.
Do we have any?
Leanne, that's probably a best Mustafa question. Thanks for joining. The staff, there was a question as far as if we were to put the snow on River Park, what would be some short-term solutions that we could do to help that be a okay environmental practice?
So most of the paved surfaces of the River Park, we catch and direct back to Oakland. As you know, the park itself, generally, from about the center of the ball field west, drains to the ditch along the Oak Leaf. But we do collect, and have always, the runoff from the parking lots. So that's all managed melt off. So if you were to stay on the paved surfaces themselves, that flow is going into the combined source.
I did not know that.
So I think if you can just picture that area, the alley to the south, which is the south boundary of that property, pretty much, and we've talked about this in other contexts, flows from the north, the east, the west, everything is collected right there. As you know, Oakland and Edgewood is our pinch point for many, many things, including runoff from these impervious surfaces. Now, my understanding of the questioning from previous meetings had to do with precisely that. Given the fact that the melt-off would be sent to MMSD, would MMSD have jurisdiction / concerns / questions / any impact on our decision? I thought that was a good question, and it isn't, melt-off isn't a thing that is regulated. So if we were to be able to contain this pile on asphalt, then we have a very good chance of essentially introducing it slowly into our collection system. Now, the other option that we have is that because we have existing catch basins, etc., it isn't a huge investment to extend those facilities, 50 feet this way or 30 feet that way, given the geometry of things, and we can accommodate that too. I think in considering the placement of a year's worth of snow on this parking lot, you have the option of making that decision and simply asking that the runoff be contained, the runoff be filtered. There are many devices that don't cost an incredible amount to place in catch basins to filter things, and it's a relatively straightforward proposition.
I can't remember the order. I think it was with Trustee Warren and then Trustee McKay. Is that correct? Trustee Warren?
Oh, no, that was my question.
Oh, that was yours. Trustee McKay.
I feel very comfortable moving ahead with one. I would prefer one of the lots at River Park, and I think Lot C makes the most sense. And my only concern about Menlo is just that there are one or two businesses right there on the corner, so I feel like that would be a disadvantage to unfair to those businesses getting blocked. But and they are really lovely, or the one. So anyway, I would propose Lot C. I don't know if I need to make a motion just to move things along, or if the group's not there. I don't feel a need to force it, but I do feel comfortable because I feel like the research has been great and the input has been very helpful, and I've had a lot of time to think about it.
Do we want further discussion? I know I have a few questions.
I have a question.
Trustee Martin. Oh, I'm sorry, but I wanted to answer Trustee McKay's. Does the board want to continue discussion, and she wants to make a motion, so you're more.
I don't want to.
I'm saying
you
you're more
know,
than welcome
it
to.
feels a little contrived. We'll know when it's time.
Sure, but Trustee Martin.
I was trying to find on my iPad the map of combined versus separated sewer, because you stopped right in your letter to us from August. On dumping, you said dumping snow on River Park parking lot. Dumping snow on impervious surface means melt off needs to be managed and conveyed to a nearby drainage system. The flow at this location would go to the river and create an added pollution source to the river. This would not be good. So I just want to be sure, because at one point it was the river, but now you're saying it's the combined. I just want to be sure
I think,
that we're.
yes, I know what you're saying. I think that in my approach to the situation, I was perhaps clearly wrong, assuming that you would use the area not paved off
Like the banks off the parking
the
lot?
parking lot. So I think that in the field, River Park itself, if you were using, the non-ball field portions of that field, that would be the case.